How's it going, everybody? Damien back with Blue Collar. We're gonna be working on a little bit of everything today. I'm trying to bleed the brakes here, and this master cylinder's been giving me fits, and so is wheel cylinders and stuff. I've been working on it for a few days. Haven't really videoed it because I was trying to just do it real quick, get it out of the way, and get into the floor pans. But man, is it being a pain. So I'm gonna go ahead and start here and say that we're gonna be doing brakes, we're gonna be doing floor pans, and if we get done with the floor pans, we're going to be putting the fuel tank back in and getting it ready. But the problem is, considering I waited so long to actually do this video, I'm only going to have 2-3 days to do these videos and put one out. So this one will probably be a little bit shorter. But I've been working on this, like I said, for a little bit, and I haven't videoed anything. I was hoping I could get it done in a day or two and then push out a floor pan video, but unfortunately that's not the case. Now, I'm going to turn this camera around and show you what I got going on here. Okay, for the past few days, I've been messing with the rear brakes. These wheel cylinders, this one in particularly, one of these pistons here on this side shot out, and this one was froze, so all the pressure went this way. Well, what it did, the seal in there didn't really break or bust or anything. It had blow-by going through it, and then it shot through this rubber boot here. So I took these wheel cylinders off, and basically there's a spring in the middle, a rubber boot, a piston, this little dust shield, and then these little things here. They're really simple. There's two on each side, one main spring, like I said, the rubber boots and all that. Now, I took some sandpaper. You can use a rehoning tool, but these weren't horrifyingly bad. But I took a piece of sandpaper and cleaned them out, cleaned the pistons up, cleaned a bunch of it, and put it all back together. Now, those aren't necessarily the problem anymore. I did it for this side and I did it for the other side. But the main issue that I'm running into now is I'm trying to bleed them, but it continuously gets air in the system. Now, before I get too crazy talking about that and that master cylinder over there, I want to tell you something about these pedals here. Before, this pedal would stick all the way down to the ground. Well, now it does not. And how I fixed that, believe it or not, these pedals have one bolt going through the whole thing. And that, see that nut right there? It goes all the way through. It's solid all the way through there. Okay? And it holds both of these pedals in line. Now, this clutch one has a spring right up in here. It sets right there. Okay? Now you have to set that spring and the brake spring here that sets back up in there. I'm sure you could see it. See that white spring back there? So you got that spring to take care of. You got the clutch spring to take care of. Then you got the two master cylinder linkages and stuff to put on there. All the while, one bolt's holding these together. So, it's a little tricky, but what was happening on these is that main bolt that goes through there is almost like a shaft, and it's what these pedals will actuate on, right? So, this clutch, it would move freely because it actually has these roller pin bearings in there or whatever. Now the brake pedal here does not. It actually had some sort of plastic shim in there. Now what I did is when you pull these pedals out here, there's a bolt going through, and on the very end over there, there's a nut and two washers, and then the pedal, and then a washer, a spacer, a washer, the clutch pedal, bolt comes out. Okay, so once you take all that out, you'll sand it, grease it, and you'll put the bolt through these little holes they got in there and just rotate it around. If it's too stiff and it doesn't want to move, knock it back out, sand it a little bit more, and get it to where it'll move right, and then you can put it all back in there. And that's actually what fixed this pedal, because before, like I said, it would just stick all day long, and it was just rust in there. So we fixed it, and this is actually my seat for right now when I'm trying to bleed these brakes. Now I told y'all before, you're gonna want to start over there, passenger side rear first. Okay, But let me talk to you about what's going on with this master cylinder. So these new master cylinders they got, there's one main hose line here, of course there's one here, and then underneath there's another. So here's one here too. Now, see how that keeps leaking? Every little time that leaks, it sucks air back into that master cylinder. And the problem I'm having, I can't find the right size, because I went over here and I've bought this, and it was a quarter inch cap, whatever you want to call it, and I put it in there, and it's not going to work now. It's actually leaking still. But every time I think I got it, I'll pump it, and it'll shoot air right back in the system, and it won't build. And of course you don't have a booster and all that, so it takes a little bit longer, but it just keeps getting there and keeps getting there and keeps getting there. And I have to find the right part for it, but it keeps me running to town, and I just can't keep doing that. So I'm gonna have to go get a kit that has a few of them together and see if that'll work, because this one just ain't gonna do it either. And when you think you get them bled off, they won't do it. Let me go over here and show you what I'm using to bleed them. You can use this alone, but I like to watch it, which is kind of defeats the purpose of it. But you have this bottle here, tube going in it, stuck in some brake fluid down here, and you're gonna put that hose on that bleeder screw right there. Now you gotta make sure that when you put that hose on the bleeder screw, it doesn't suck air into it, because that'll defeat the purpose, okay? You can't have air going into these systems. What you'll do is you'll put that hose on there. You can zip tie it, or if it's tight like mine, you can leave it that way, as long as no air is getting in there. You'll take this wrench you got on there, whatever size yours is, and you'll turn it just enough to open the bleeder screw. You don't want to loosen off and see fluid coming out of the bleeder, like the bottom where it screws in. You just want it coming out of the screw itself, okay? And then when you pump the brakes, the fluid's going to rise in this line here, and it'll get back in there, and basically air's only got one way to go, right? The fluid is going to keep, from sucking air back through the line going back in, because when you push the piston, it pushes the hydraulic fluid. When you pull it back, it tries to suck the hydraulic fluid, and anything outside of the hydraulic fluid is going to come with it, which is air, right? So what you're going to do is going to put that in the hydraulic fluid, so when it pushes, it'll push fluid, and when it pulls, it'll pull fluid, so it won't ever have any air in it. And then this is designed, I mean, it's not anything special. It's a water bottle and a hose with some brake fluid in it, but it's designed to push and pull just fluid. So you can go in the cab, pop the bleeder screw open a little bit, and just pump it and pump it and pump it, and it should work fine. So once I figure that out, we can get into some floor pans and stuff. But this video is going to be a little bit more about these brakes here. Now I do want to reiterate a little bit. When I put these brakes on here before, and I was showing you guys how they went on there, I actually got this wrong. Before, I tried putting this, let me back up a little bit, here and here, but that separates the brakes too far, and you can't put it on there right. It actually sets in this groove here and here. I just wanted to reiterate that for those of you that watched the last brake video. If I can't get to the floor pans and stuff, honestly, this is probably going to wind up being just another brake video, just because how ridiculous this master cylinder is being right now. But I'm going to have to take that off and get to town and buy a kit with a few of them in it to hopefully fix the problem. I'm not sure what sort of problem that master cylinder's got going on with it. I don't know, but I might take it off and bring the damn master cylinder to town and do it that way. But anyways, I'm going to figure out if I'm going to take that master cylinder off there or not, which probably not. I'm just going to go get it, but if I have to, I will. But I'm going to take you guys to town. We're going to go get something to plug that off again, because it's just going to leak and leak and leak. Like, it's just been sitting here, and it's already got residual on it. You can't have that. So we're gonna have to get to town. I'm gonna take that off, bring it back to advanced, and see if we can get a different one. But that should be what's going on in this one so far. I'm gonna try to get these brakes done and get in the floor pan as fast as I can, but a few things that I did off camera is what I told you. Now, I did wind up painting, well, actually my wife painted it for me while I was working on the brakes, but we wound up painting the fuel tank. It's got some stuff on it. It's not the prettiest thing I've ever seen, but it definitely looks a lot better than what it was, so we're gonna be doing good with that. I still gotta paint the back. Anyways, yeah, let's get to town. I'll take you guys with me and we'll go have a good time checking out some parts and stuff. So I'll see you when we get to town. Alright, so I don't think I'm gonna have to go to town, matter of fact, because it's not leaking. I think what it was is that thread tape I was putting on it. It was getting in there and letting it seep by, or not sealing right. So I took the thread tape off, I put the same thing right back in there, and it seems to have sealed. So I want to show you guys this bottle thing right here, because this is my first time doing it. I used it back here earlier just to kind of get familiar with it, and it seemed to do the job. Now, on the other side, I couldn't use it because the bleeder nut, or screw, or whatever you want to call it, it's too small. And no matter what I do with a zip tie or whatnot, it just will not go on there. So I'm going to show you guys this real quick on this one. By the way, took the tire off, and there was some sort of spider right there. Anyways, this is how I got it hooked up here. Now I'm going to take this. This is the one that I changed. It's actually a 10 millimeter. You're going to barely break it loose here. Break loose, please. Oh. Well, just break loose then. There we go. I was tightening. Alright. Now, you don't want this too tight, or you don't want it too loose, right? You can't have fluid coming out behind the back of those threads right there. So you want it just tight enough to where it'll still bleed through but not get anything past it. Now, I broke that loose, you saw it. So I'm gonna leave this stuff here. And then I'm gonna ask my dad to go pedal in there for me. And make sure this master cylinder is full, like I said earlier. And no leaks, can't have those. And all you're gonna have to do is watch this line here. I'm just doing this. You can do this alone, but I'm doing this so you guys can see it. He's pumping them. Now here in a minute, some fluid should be coming out of here. Let me try to loosen it up a little bit.
Ain't nothing coming out of it?
Not yet, Dad. Maybe that line's clogged up. Don't know. Oh, there might be something coming out of there. Let's go check the master cylinder real quick. Oh, it still looks... It's not really doing the job. I wonder if that master cylinder is just bad, to be honest, but hell, I just bought it, you'd hope not. Back in here. Still no fluid, huh? Now this is loose as it needs to be. Maybe this line here is plugged up, or well, it could be that line. It could be.
Anything coming out of it yet?
No, Dad, nothing coming out yet. It could be that middle line down there that shoots off that way. But you'd think if you'd have fluid going that way, it would go to the rear brakes. So Let me look into that real quick. All right, captain's log here. It's currently sometime during the day. I think I figured out the issue with the no fluid through the wheel cylinder up here. Of course, it's, you know, some of you were screaming at me, hey, you knew that, why didn't you fix it? Well, I was hoping to save some money. Of course, can't do that. And I'm not rich, so I can't just blow it. But now that I know it don't work, I'm gonna come over here and show you what I did to figure it out. Let's turn this around. All right, here we are. Let me give you a brief thing on how this works real quick. Master cylinder, push. Brake line, down, it does a little twirl, who cares? Go all the way down there. The brake line will come from here, go down, through the frame, and right here, underneath the driver's seat, right in there. It's in the frame because the frame's C-notched, it'll set in it. There is a splitter that the main line will go into, and it'll split this way, which by this way I mean towards the passenger side. So it'll go in, it'll split that way, and then keep going back, right? So you're gonna have your splitter that comes over here and provides brake fluid to the passenger side front. And then the one that comes back here to the rear goes to another, so it goes to a rubber line that comes down to a splitter that tees off. One comes this way to this brake, other one that way to that brake, okay? Now that we know that, we know that this splitter here, the first splitter works. We know that the splitter in the back works because we have fluid back there, and we have fluid here because obviously if there's fluid back there, there's fluid through that splitter. So what I did is I came over here to where this brake line meets the soft line. You have to be very careful taking these off. I wasn't too worried about breaking the rubber line. My rubber line was absolutely awful, and I knew that going in, but sometimes you hope you can get some stuff out of them, but this one, you can tell it was just not, it didn't have anything left. Now, it had the port for it to go through there, but it was clogged up, is what I'm saying. And when I was taking it off, it broke it pretty good. But basically, that line goes from that hole there to that wheel cylinder here, okay? Now, how that's held in there is you have your brake line coming from that splitter. See the line here? It comes over here, and it does an L shape to that hole. And how it connects to the soft line is the soft line has a hole coming in that it screws into. But then it also has threaded on the outside of that has this little nut here that holds the line to the frame. So when it's moving, when the truck's going and it's shaking, it stays still. It doesn't up and down, side to side and wear. It stays still, right? And then, of course, the soft line comes from there to the wheel cylinder, and in between the wheel cylinder and the line is this here, okay? So now that we know that, I'm going to come show you this other line to give you a comparison because it is still on here. Okay, so you have soft line there to wheel cylinder there, okay? So that's how it looks in there, and tomorrow I'm going to have to take this out. But how I took it off was you get a vice grip, and you get, I think it was a 5/8, and you'll come over here, and in that frame, you see this line here? That's the brake line that I took out. You're going to vice grip right there. And of course, you're going to want to spray this with PB Blaster, WD-40, penetrating oil, anything that'll get in there and help those threads come out. You'll let it soak, you'll put a vice grip on those threads, and of course there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can do this 1,000 different ways, but how I did it, clamp the vice grip on that and put it inside the frame there, so when it would move, when I was loosening it, it would hit on something and hold solid, okay? And then I came over here with my little wrench, and I just started getting after it, okay? And after a little bit, it'll break free, and then you can change the vice grip from the hose to this nut here and do the same thing that you just did, but holding on this nut, and then the line will come out, and then you can take it off the wheel cylinder. What I would advise to keep you from ripping this apart, if you did want to try to keep this whole, pop off your hubcap here, or your wheel bearing cap, whatever you want to call it. Take your wheel bearing out, take the nut and everything, all that out. Slide the brakes off, undo the wheel cylinder, unscrew it, take the wheel cylinder off. So now the hose can flop around, do whatever it needs to do. It's free, right? Then you can get to taking that off so it doesn't twist and put the thing in a bind real bad, okay? That will help it from cinching it up and ripping it like mine did, but I wasn't really caring about it because I'm going to be changing it. So now that we know that, tomorrow we'll be taking the trips to not Advanced, but O'Reilly's, because Advanced would take a week to order it from factory direct, I think they said. And O'Reilly's supposedly can have it tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. I'll take you guys to the store. We'll order it together there and bring it back to the house, and we'll get to putting it on, yeah? That's about all I can say for today. That's how I did it. Like I said, there's more than one way to do it, but that's how I would do it. And tomorrow we'll get into doing this again, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get these brakes bled. I've said it, man, I can't tell you how many times I've said hopefully tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow. With these old brakes, there's a lot of stuff that needs repairing, and you don't really know until you get in there. You just always hope that you don't break the hard line and have to redo all the lines, okay? So hopefully this will allow me to have a brake pedal, because before, the pedal just wouldn't build nothing. It could have a leak, but I haven't seen anything, and it could be because it's not building pressure in these wheel cylinders. It was just building in the back. So hopefully that'll do it. We'll figure that out tomorrow. And if we do, I will start getting in. I'm not going to put the fuel tank in there because that's just ridiculous to be cutting and welding inside a cab with a fuel tank in there. But if we do get the brakes done and I start working on the cab, tell me what you guys think for further videos. But I could either cut the video off and do a short one and just say, hey, bleeding brakes on the 67, you know, and then next week do a floor pan on the 67. Or I can do them both together, make a longer video and say brakes and floor pan redone, or something crazy. You guys just let me know what you think. I personally like longer videos when I watch automotive stuff. Big fan of the vice grip thing. I'm not going to get too crazy into it because I don't want him to think that I'm trying to, you know, build my community off of his. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, and tomorrow we're going to get into this again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early. We'll get to the store. Okay, we're back from O'Reilly's here. Didn't video. Dang it. But I forgot my phone. No, I didn't. I just didn't video. Anyways, back to this. We got some more brake fluid because you're pretty close to being out. And we got the new brake lines here. But you guys want to see the part number real fast? It's right there. Now these are going to be the same thing on each side. These hoses, they're not like really left and right in particular. It's just one hose for both. So I think this hose cost me 22 something. Is 50 after tax and all for both of them. Kind of steep, but you got to have them. So with that out of the way, we're going to get into putting that on the passenger side. I'm going to let the jack down here and move to the driver's side, take the tire off, do the same thing on it. So let's get the talking out of the way. I'm going to get these thrown on here, and we're going to start trying to bleed them again and see if it works finally. Checking it off the list, you know what I'm saying? We'll get it done. Alright, just so you guys know, you should only need 5/8 wrench here without the dust and stuff on it, and a vice grip. That's all I use. Sure it's awfully windy. Anyways, vice grip, 5/8, and your line here. And what you're going to want to do first, reach up here and grab this. Not grab this, I'm going to grab it real quick. Here it is. Okay. This nut here, this line, and basically all you really need to do is get this line, thread it through here, put that nut on the back of it, clamp down with your vice grips on it, and just get to spinning this thing. And yeah, let's get to it, I guess. So you get down here, you get your vice grip, you get to the right size, clamp down on it. Perfect. Okay. Stick it straight through here. Screw it down. Get it to where it feels taut. Okay. Can't see nothing. Okay, get your vice grip. Just get it twirling. This sun is in my eyeball. Okay, that should be tight enough. Now you'll take your vice grip off here. And this line will be ready. Now you're going to take, let me show you real quick. Okay, now you can see where I have my vice grip right there on that nut, and then here is the brake line. Okay, they're not together, but you want to leave this line loose enough to where it can spin, because this is the last thing I'm actually going to tighten up. I want this hose to be able to spin so I can put the line on here and it'll spin, and then I can put the brake line on, because this actually spins here too, if you guys don't know that, which you should if you don't, if you're this far. That spins, so that's fine, right? So now I need to tighten that on here, because this line can spin. You don't want to get it tight and then spin it, and then this will break and all sorts of other junk. So get that put on there, and then you'll tighten up the rest of this, okay? Okay. When you go to put this on here, don't forget your little copper piece. I almost did, but I caught it. Now this is gonna twist, like I said. All you gotta do is just hold the line and twist it. Twist that on there. Then you put your little wrenchy dude on here and just tighten it up. Anyways, now I'm gonna put that brake line into this soft line, and then I'm gonna tighten it up and then tighten this piece up, okay? So, I'm going to get to that. I can't really show you because it's going to be in a weird spot, but I'll show you once it's done. Okay, change of plans a little bit. I winded up doing the soft line snug here, which would be this piece. I snugged it up first, then did the brake line, right? Because of when you try to tighten it the way that I was going to do it the first time, this hose will spin. So what you need to do is stop this hose from spinning by tightening up that nut to the frame to tighten this hose. Once it's tight, then you're gonna screw in your hard line. Now, the only tools I've used for this is a 3/8 wrench, a 5/8 wrench, and a vice grip. And the vice grip is what I held the nut with. So it's really simple, not hard to do. Just hope you don't break the hard line, okay? Now, this is going to be the same thing on the other side, so I'm not going to get into showing it. Might show you what the hose looks like after I get it off on the other side, but it's probably going to split just like the last one because I refuse to take this off and pull the wheel cylinder again. So I'm going to take the hose off on the other side, do the same thing I just did, and put some brake fluid in and start bleeding it again. We're going to have to start from the rear again because as soon as you get air in that, you got to do the whole system again, alright? It sucks, but hopefully this time it'll be good. I put the tires back on it and they'll all be flat, and we'll go from there. Awesome. So, we got the line on here. Pretty simple, just like the last one. We're going to get this tire put on here. I'm going to let this back down. I'm going to see if it'll hold brake pressure, and then I'll start bleeding it. All I'm going to do is put some more .3 in there. Pump it a little bit. Check the lines, make sure they're not leaking anywhere, and get to bleeding. Alright, tires back on here. Got to put down in the front. Going to go ahead and take this cap off here. Screw that thing a little bit. That's why. Once that, see that little porthole in the back? Once that thing starts sucking in air, there's air going through the whole thing. So we're going to go get some .3 brake fluid here. Pop the cap off of it. Pour it in here until it's full. Just like so. And pump them up. Alright. Boy, isn't that a pretty view. Well, unfortunately it's starting to get a little darker outside, so we're kind of limited on the time. I'm thinking I'm going to shut it down for the night. I cleaned up all the tools and stuff I had, but good news is, after bleeding the rear, the front, just the way I told you, it started blowing all that air out, and you can see it coming in that bottle, hear it. You can listen to the springs moving and stuff. So it started to come around, and then I bled them twice. So rears, front, flipped, went back that direction, and then did rears, front again, and got all the fluid out of there I could, and all the air out of there I could. So it's pretty well flushed. It's not crystal clear like if it was, you know, all brand new, but it does its job. And me and my dad came in here and moved this pedal a bit. There, under there, when we took the pedal and stuff apart, there's basically a tensioner where the brake on, so you push the pedal, it pushes the rod in the master cylinder, and you can adjust where that brake starts pushing. And now, man, we got brakes just as solid as they could be, okay? And the pedal comes back, so that's good news. I put all the tires back on. Of course, that one's flat, the one over there is flat, and the one up front's flat. But tomorrow, I think what I want to do is put some 80/90 in the gearbox there and see if I can get some of the transmission, or at least check it, you know, check the fluids in there. And I kind of want to drive it around a little bit. Of course, I know the floor pans and stuff aren't done, but man, it sure does sound fun to drive. Maybe I should just keep my head down in it, but man, I want to drive it real bad. I'll probably just put the 80/90 and stuff in it, check the transmission, show you guys that, and close this video down and wait until next time to get into the floor pans and stuff. Anyways, brakes seem like they're working good. It just took a long time to bleed them because there was air throughout the whole system. We got everything sorted out, so those should be good now. And if you guys run into it, just keep your head down, you know, working, because it takes a while. You got air all the way from the master cylinder all the way in all of these lines and check stuff, and man, it sure does take a while. But after a little bit, and you stop all the leaks, of course, and your hoses aren't broken or whatever, it'll come back around. It just takes a little time. So we're gonna shut this video down for tonight, pick it up tomorrow, put some 80/90 in the rear differential, axle, whatever you want to say, and then check the transmission, probably put some in it too. So we'll see you tomorrow bright and early. All right, day 563. We're back working on the Dodge. Yesterday we got the brakes to finally pump up and do what they're supposed to do. So I think today, like I said just a little bit ago, that I'm going to be getting into doing the 80/90 in the rear axle and checking the transmission, seeing if it's got gear oil in it, and if it doesn't, putting some in there. But when I do that, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to put it in there. It's a little bit different. I don't got any of those pumps or anything, and of course I bought a gallon at 80/90. But my plan is pop a hole in the lid, throw a hose through it, pop a hole in the jug, hook some air up to it, blow it in there. I've done it before on a transfer case. It was my first time doing it, and it worked pretty good. You just got to be careful how much air you put in it. You don't want it to pop. So I'm gonna get under there and show you guys where you're gonna be pulling stuff apart, fill it up, how to fill it up, you know, and when you know you're done, just set you back up to everything you gotta do, and then we're gonna get to the transmission and see where we go from there. So I'll see you when I get under the truck. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna show you guys how I made this last time. Basically, you're gonna want to get some sort of punch here and a hammer. You're gonna have this hose that you're gonna put in it. You're gonna take the lid off here. Make sure you know where the middle is, but on this side, okay, you put your punch in there. You're gonna hit it with a hammer. Now this will slowly increase in, you know, roundness, okay, until it's about that size. So you're just gonna push it through until it's that size. Now, of course, this little crap in here will come out, but you really just need the lid. And then what I did last time is I just got a lighter, heated the tip up, stuck it down until it blew through to make a little hole, and then it should be good. Alright, that took a little bit longer than it was supposed to, because the original cap here, I hit it without heating it up and it cracked it in half. So I got a different cap off another jug and heat it up a little bit, knock a punch through it, get the size you want, get that hose in there, make sure it goes all the way to the bottom, okay? Now, this other hole, you'll just heat it up, put it on there, hit it through, size it to where it'll fit this right here. So basically you'll hold that right there, just like so, pump air in it, a very little bit at a time. Now that's going to expand, but you don't want to expand so much that just boop. Anyways, this should be the tools we're going to need for at least the rear differential. Adjustable wrench to open it up, throw the hose in there, put some air in it, pump it in. When it starts coming out, cap it back off. Anyways, I'm going to crawl under there, get all this stuff situated, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, that right there with the square is what we're going to be taking off to fill it, okay? There's not really a lot of diff fluid that's supposed to be in here. I think it's like 2 quarts, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But anyways, what you're going to do, pop that loose, stick that tube down in there, and shoot some air in it. Now, I'm going to see if I can take this off with just my hand. It shouldn't be too tight, I don't think. That's the wrong way. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure I popped this off before, yeah. Popped this off before when I took it all out. But anyways, once you take this off, there's a little inspection piece. Man, this stuff doesn't smell good. Anyways, set that aside for now. You'll put your hose in here, just like, oh, here, let me switch hands real quick. just like so. Okay. Shoot some air in it, and then when fluid starts pumping out of there, well, not pumping, but just as it starts dripping right there is when you'll shut it down, okay? I'm gonna get to that, plug it back off, and then move to the transmission, see what we can see. Okay, here's it hooked up. Shoot some air in it. It'll expand, and then you'll see it going out of there. Of course, you can see the fluid moving in there. But anyways, you'll just keep airing it a little bit at a time. It'll expand, and then it'll push it through, see? Anyways, that's about all I can show. It's kind of hard to show you guys in here when I'm holding all sorts of stuff, but that's about what it'll look like. Alright, you see how it just started leaking out of the threads there? You're going to have some of that happen, and that's exactly what you want. Now, mine's obviously elevated on this side, so it's a little bit over full. So it didn't leak as much as it would have if it was just flat on the ground. But, basically, those threads will just allow it to seep by and go down. Now, you don't want this thing pouring out. You just want it barely dripping just like that. That'll let you know it's full, and then you just tighten it back up just the way it is. Now, since that's full, and it only took about a little over 2 quarts, I'm pretty sure I overfilled it just a smidgen, but it's alright. I'm going to work my way up to that transmission up there and see if I can see where that, I think I see it right there on the side. There's a bolt over there, just like this one that we should be looking at. So let me do some looking on it, and then we'll see where we got to fill it up. Okay, so on this transmission, you have a fill plug, I'm pretty sure. And way over here, looks like that drain plug. So I'm going to pop that loose, see what comes out of it, and then what I guess I could do is pop this off real quick. Stick my finger in there and see if I can feel any fluids. And then we'll get to this here. This right here, this cable, is what tells your speedometer your speed. It don't look too good, but I hope it works. Anyways, I'm going to pop this off first, see if there's any fluid in it. Which there should be, because it was leaking. So that means there's something in there. Then I'm going to pop that loose. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay. I was a little skeptical. I popped that filler plug off up here, and it seemed pretty dry, but I popped that one off down there, the bleeder screw, and it had some in it. Now, it did say on the rear diff and the transmission it uses 80 straight, 90 straight, or some sort of transmission fluid. Except for the rear diff, it's just 80 straight or 90 straight. So I did the right thing and put 80, 90 in it. And I'm going to do the same thing for this, because I'm pretty sure you can do that too. So I'm going to go ahead and wait till this finished draining, and then I'll put some better fluid in it, because this, ain't no telling how long that's been in there. And then, yeah, we'll be alright. And I think we'll probably stop this video after here. I don't think I'm going to drive it. I think I'm just going to get into doing some of the floor pans like I wanted to do this week anyway. So, we're better off than we were. That's good to hear. Well, I guess while I'm in here, I can show you a little bit more about how these brake lines are routed. So, of course, the master cylinder's up that way, right? Now, the main line comes down into that right there. Let's see if I can point at it a little better. Right here, right? And then it separates, right? It'll go right back up and then over to a soft line that we changed yesterday to the driver's side front. Then you'll have one shoot across here. That's this metal line here. That'll go that way to the other soft line for the passenger side front. And then you're going to have another one shoot off this way, all the way back here. Let's see if I can see it back there. You see that soft rubber line that goes this way? Okay, so it goes from a hard line to a soft line to a splitter, right? The same thing that was up there. And one splitter goes that way to that tire, and the other one goes to this tire. So that's how those brake lines are set up on this truck. Newer models and stuff get a little bit more complex. It depends on the systems you got, but this one's relatively simple. I'm just happy that these lines didn't break, because most of the time when that breaks up there, you got to change that. When that breaks, you got to change all of it. So that sucks, but we got past it. Just so you guys know how it's routed, and stalling for this to finish. By the way, always put these where you're going to forget them. So that's cool. Anyways, we're going to be putting fluid in this in just a second and be right back where we were. Alright, just got done. It's a little later, but just so you guys know, once you guys get down, if you buy the gallon just like I did, say you're doing both of these, say you get down to the 2 quart, about a quart left in that gallon, you're probably going to want to switch to a quart, like a jug. Unless you got something to keep that hose straight, it's going to start sucking air, because it's going to want to curl up, and it's going to want to start sucking the air you're shooting in there. It's just the same process for a quart that it is a gallon. It's no different. But anyways, all the fluid is put in the rear axle and the transmission, and it filled both of them. So a gallon will get you rear axle and transmission on this truck taken care of, it seems. And other than that, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a blast. I know it's not exactly the video that I was hoping for, but I do hope that you guys also appreciate it. And if you guys do, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. If you don't like it, tell me about it. If you do like it, tell me what I can do, you know. Keep it going, how you like it, how you don't, stuff like that. Anyways, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the next one.